Jimmy Butler wants all of the smoke with Kelly Oubre, and who can blame him? We'll break down those comments and reports on this episode of Heat Digest, as well as how the Miami Heat already have the jet on the tarmac, fueled up and ready to go to Boston on Saturday. We'll break down all of this on this episode of Heat Digest, where we create daily Miami Heat content. So if that interests you, subscribe to the channel, as 84% of you guys currently watching this video are not currently subscribed. We're on the road to 1,300 subscribers, so scroll down, hit the subscribe button. We're on the road to 1,300. We appreciate all the love and support. Now let's get to it and break down how Jimmy Butler wants all of the smoke. Now Jimmy, we know, is no stranger. He's not shy. He doesn't shy away from any type of, I won't say he's combative, but he won't shy away from any type of problem. He's never going to let anyone roll over him. And now with Kelly Oubre, it is no different. If you guys don't know, Jimmy Butler went down with an MCL sprain in his right knee, and now he'll be sidelined for several weeks. And when it happened at 2 days ago on Wednesday, April 17th in Philadelphia, between the Philadelphia 76ers and the Miami Heat, when they were playing for the 7th position in the Eastern Conference playoffs. At the end of the first quarter, Kevin Love threw an outlet pass to Jimmy Butler, who caught it, made a pump fake, and because of the pump fake, Kelly Oubre went up in the air. Jimmy Butler then went up the air. They caused the contact to go to the free throw line, possibly go to the line for an and one opportunity. He didn't make the layup. He was fouled, and when he landed, it seemed like he tweaked his right knee. Obviously, Kelly Oubre was the only 76er really in the jurisdiction, and he was the person who caused the foul. Now, the Miami Heat Instagram, the actual official Miami Heat page, posted this on Instagram. Injury update: Jimmy Butler, right MCL sprain, has been ruled out of Friday night's game, a play-in game versus the Chicago Bulls. Now, obviously, this is not what any of us wanted to hear for Jimmy Butler, as we're all fans of Jimmy Butler. We all root for Jimmy Butler. Not only does he play for the Miami Heat, but he's a great character. He's a great basketball player, and he's fun to watch, and he's always an enjoyable person. And he had this to say, top comment on that exact post, saying, "At Kelly Oubre Jr., we throwing hands." Now, this has 25,000 likes, over 1,000 replies on the comment section of this Instagram post by the Miami Heat. Leave it to Jimmy to say something like this. Jimmy Butler is not happy. It was this time of the year that he always turns things on, in April and May, when Jimmy Butler really turns into playoff Jimmy Butler, and things really just changed for not only him but the entire Miami Heat team, as his points, rebounds, assists, steals all go up in percentage, and it results in Miami Heat victories, and it's always a joy to watch. And we thought this time of the year that going into this game that we were going to get the same old Jimmy that we get year after year in the playoffs, and it was going to result in another big push by this Miami Heat team. And ended up, the Miami Heat lost on Wednesday 104-105 to the Philadelphia 76ers. And a lot of it had to do with the fact that Jimmy Butler was not the same Jimmy Butler that we thought he was. And now we go into a game tonight against the Chicago Bulls in a win or go home scenario. And it's pretty funny to think about this, as the Miami Heat already have their plane fueled up and ready to go, scheduled to fly out on Saturday. Yes, tomorrow, to the land in Boston. The Miami Heat are scheduled to fly to Boston at 1 p.m. tomorrow. Sources Andy Slater. Now, this is the actual tweet from Andy Slater saying this. The Miami Heat are scheduled to fly to Boston at 1 p.m. on Saturday. FAA record show. The Bulls have a flight set up from Miami to Chicago. Now, this tweet was put out at 9:22 a.m. Eastern Standard Time today, just 2 hours ago. Andy Slater, a very credible source, as he has over 100,000 views just on this tweet in just over an hour and a half. It's very interesting to think. Are the Miami Heat looking past the Chicago's Bulls team? Now, this Chicago Bulls team, on paper, compared to this Miami Heat team, I'm taking the Heat every time, not only on paper, but also on the floor, because I've watched so many of the Miami Heat games this year and a handful of Chicago Bulls games. We should beat this team 9 times out of 10, but here's the thing. We don't have Jimmy Butler, and I don't have to explain how great of a player he is and how important he is to this Miami Heat team. But we also don't have Terry Rozier. Obviously, it's the first year of him being in Miami. He's only been here for about half a season, as we acquired him right before the trade deadline in February. and then he's out with neck spasm. Duncan Robinson is going to probably be out, as he is probable to play, but again, he's listed as out on the status report for the injury report on ESPN. And we've seen him play when playing through injury with the same injury he's dealing with now in the back discomfort. It results in bad play style from Duncan Robinson. It doesn't result in a lot of good shots, and when he does take shots, they do not fall at a high clip, which is not what we want to see. So it's going to be interesting, as we will be without Butler, we will be without Rozier, we will probably be without Duncan Robinson. And the Miami Heat, again, scheduled to fly out to Boston on Saturday at 1 p.m. Now, if you don't know, the winner of this series goes on to be the 8th seed and play the Boston Celtics in Boston. The series will start on Sunday. So again, us flying out on Saturday, bidding there on Saturday, obviously Saturday evening, we'd be ready for a game Sunday afternoon or Sunday evening against these Boston Celtics. Again, it's very, very drastic to have things planned like this already, as if we do lose, that is our season. Things will end right there, and we will go home, unfortunately, and Chicago will go on to play Boston. I have a lot of faith in this Miami Heat team. I think we can definitely beat the Chicago Bulls team, despite having no Butler, no Rozier, no Duncan Robinson, possibly. I expect a big game out of Tyler Hero and Bam Adebayo. I think the two-man game on offense, especially in the half-court sets, really gets going for these two guys because of the lack of offense that we are going to not have in Terry Rozier and Jimmy Butler, just at that. And so, in the half-court offense really does struggle for this Miami Heat team. If we can't get the defense energy up high and really get things going early on the defensive end, resulting in fast breaks, resulting in early baskets, transition baskets, I don't know how this Miami Heat team will be able to do against a team that's not great in Chicago. So it's going to be a big test for this Miami Heat team. I can't wait to see how it goes. I will say, for the betting lines of this game, it's currently at -2 for the Miami Heat to win, +2 for the Chicago Bulls. Obviously, the money line picks are at +105 for the Chicago Bulls, the only plus money you will find on betting this game, at least on the game lines. And then the Miami Heat are at -125 to win the game outright. For the over-under, it is at 205.5, obviously 110 going both over or under. It's going to be interesting, to say the least. I will say, for the opening odds, this is how it started. For the spread, it opened up at 2.5, so it has not moved since then, as it after opening at 2.5, it did go up to 3 before then dropping again to about 1.82, or the 2 line, if you will, before even dropping to the 1.5 line, before coming back up to the -2 line that it's at now. I will say, for the over-under, that is going to be the biggest line movement that we've had in this game. As it opened up at 209, it has done nothing but drop. It dropped to that 208 number before going back to the 209 number, before steadily decreasing from that point forward to now, to where it now sits at the 205.5 number for the over-under. I don't know how this game is going to go, to be honest with you. Last year, when we were in the same exact scenario between the Chicago Bulls and the Miami Heat in the second round of the play-in positions, it was a 5.5 point spread for the Miami Heat, and the over-under was right around the same. I believe it was 208.5. The Miami Heat ended up winning that game by 5, or excuse me, they won by 12 because of a 12-1 run late in that game. So again, it's going to be interesting. The spread was 5.5. Now this spread is going to be 2. The over-under is lower in this game than it was last year. This game is going to look a lot like last year's game. I know there's not going to be a lot of offense, but the defense is going to really steady the way for this Miami Heat team. And it's just we're going to have to contain DeMar DeRozan. We're going to have to contain their defense and limit their ability to get out in the transition and really get some athletic and momentum boosting plays here in Miami. Again, that's going to be it for this episode of Heat Digest. Thanks you guys for watching. I'll see you guys on the next one.